fellow wargamers. It's the Sentinel from across the tabletop, and tonight we have a breakdown of my list I'm taking to the International Teams Tournament. I've got my good friend Nick here, the boss man himself, the Wah, the Speed Wah, you know him. He's brought his orcs all the time, so the Wah across the board, and he's here to help us break it down tonight.
Oh yeah, I'm just the dummy here to ask the questions.
Ask the questions.
So you get to bounce some ideas off people.
That's it. You haven't got to listen to one voice then. Hopefully it will just make it a little bit more interesting if there's two of us.
Yeah, so this is your list for the Northampton International Team Tournament. This is the finalised list, yeah, because we've all submitted a list and everything like that.
Yeah, the list has gone submitted, 36 hours ago from when this video has been recorded, on the Tuesday.
So why don't you give us a breakdown of the list? Okay,
so we've got a 2,000 points of battalion detachment of Imperial Fists. Trueborn, there's no successors here. These are the finest of Dawn's sons after the rebuilt from the Indominus Crusade. So we've got a chapter master leading the way, which is my baby marine, essentially. I've upgraded him, and the stick of wisdom. Yeah,
there he is.
I've upgraded him to be a chapter master for the extra points. I've also given him a thunder hammer, and I've given him a couple of relics and warlord traits.
Yep. What warlord traits have you given him?
So
or do you want to go through that at the end of the
we'll go that now. So the warlord trait I've given him is the one from the Imperial Fist, which is the Indominus, Indomitable, which basically gives him transhuman. So it's a baby marine with transhuman. Considering you can't give the stratagem to the baby ones, he's constantly got it.
Remember that catching me out in one of our last games.
Yeah. And then the second one is the Codex, Master of Codex. So it gives me additional CP every command phase on a 4 if he's on the battlefield.
Nice.
And then the relic I've given him is the armor of Indomitus.
Yeah.
And basically that gives him an extra armor save, so he's a 2-up save. He has an extra wound, so he's got 6 wounds, so he's matching his counterparts now across the board. But it gives him an ability for once per game in any phase, once I've seen the dice rolls, to turn my armor save or my invulnerable save to a 3-up for that phase.
And that's great because you can do that after you see how many wounds they make.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And then you can take that risk then option. Yeah, it's brilliant. But if you know you're going to be hammered a lot by a lot of demolishers, from Charlie's army, or you're going to be smashed by Telemann, say from Rich's army,
or Dark Lances,
from Richie P's.
What's the Gene Stealer called? Kellamorph comes on, the assassin sniper, the forearms pistols comes on. It's like 3-up invuln.
3-up invuln. Yeah, and it's amazing. He has survived due to that 3-up invuln on a few occasions now. So that's him then. That's him done essentially. There's no more upgrades, no more warlord traits. That's him. But his Thunder Hammer is the big beatstick essentially. I was struggling with that counter punch when units got into my front lines, and with the Thunder Hammer doing that flat 3, it does make a massive impact on the game now. The next one is my Tech Marine. He's one of my favourite characters in the book. I think he's very well pointed. He is a third-party miniature, and he's supposed to have a little baby carrier for when you're doing those pickings. What would you call it when you go to the fun fair and you've got the grabbers, the arms?
Oh, the claw.
The claw, yeah. He's supposed to have a claw on his back of his pack, but I think he looks cooler without it.
That's such a good model.
Yeah. And again, this was an incredible purchase that I was able to pick up, so I love him a lot. So that's my Tech Marine, Primaris Tech Marine. He's scaled wise correctly, so he matches all the requirements.
It's great because he looks like he's wearing Mark III armour.
Yes, yeah.
But he's Primaris size.
Yeah, he's got that very Mark III Mechanicus type armoured layered factors. I think he looks incredible. Yeah, but he has a power axe for his close combat. He's got his mecha tendrils. He's got the claw that I was talking about, the little claw arm. Is supposed to be like a thunder hammer sort of thing, which is missing, but he's got a grav pistol and then an assault bolter. So he has a lot of firepower. 2-up save, 5 wounds, so he's really good. But what I've given him is the Eye of Hypnoth relic. So I spent extra CP giving him the Eye of Hypnoth. That's an ability that allows me to reroll 1s in the shooting phase across the board. And then I've given him a warlord trait, the Rites of War, which allows me to be OBSEC. So
the aura.
The aura. So everything in my army, apart from the quad heavy bolter, if they are within range, will have the OBSEC of 6 inches from him.
That's great.
Which means he can sit on a back objector with the 2 contemptors, or just 1, because it gives him to himself and his OBSEC, and then the other units can push out.
Now, it's been a while since I've used that because I haven't played my Blood Angels in a while, but is that core and character units?
Core and characters.
Are the Terminators core?
Yes, they are,
Of course they are, they're Space Marines.
The Space Marines, yeah, why wouldn't they have core? But yeah, that gives them the core ability, so that gives them OBSEC.
So it's literally just the quad heavy bolter.
Quad heavy bolter, yeah.
The only thing that can't get it. Wow.
And everything else has the OBSEC keyword. And then on the right hand side of the trio of HQ and elements is the Chaplain. So he has all his normal stuff, his staff and his bolt pistol. And then his Chaplain abilities, I've upgraded him to be the Master of Sanctity, so a couple of extra points spent there for him. Gives him 2 litanies.
Yep.
The Catacomb of Fire, which is the +1 to wound. People might be thinking, why are you taking the +1 to wound but not the +1 to hit? It's the ability for the +1 to wound is for those toughness 8 models that are out there now.
Yeah.
You know, with a lot of my strength 8 or strength 5 weapons, you know, even strength 4 weapons, being able to wound better overall is much more efficient than being able to hit.
There are some things now which give you -1 to wound.
Yes,
well. Yeah.
So yeah, but that only affects the nearest model, but it's nearest visible. So if I can get the angles right and I can cut out a model's line of sight to something and be able to reach through and cut the back of the board, then that efficiency, I've just got to remember that it's visible, nearest visible unit or eligible unit, should we say? And if you can't see a unit, they're not eligible to be shot at.
That's great.
So yeah, it's a great little cheeky one to remember there. And then the other one is the +2. I think it's Catacomb of Hate. Tentacle of Hate.
Yes.
+2 to the charge. +3 to their consolidation, +3 to the piling.
Yeah.
With an aura. It's an aura ability, so that gives it to everybody.
Yeah.
Fantastic. It just means that once that aura goes off, or that tentacle, everybody is having that extra 2-inch charge. And if you need to make that push in turn 2 or turn 3 to the centre of the board to an objective or across the table, that is massive. And then he's got his Tentacle of Hate, the standard one, which is the Litany of Hate, which is the reroll everything for core and characters. So essentially, he adds another element to having a chapter master ability for everybody charging.
That'd be great, like if he's near the Terminators.
Exactly. Well, what I found was I didn't have to give him my rerolls to my intercessors. To do, because I like to charge the intercessors in, give them the reroll everything, and then have them have the.
This guy is my nemesis.
Yeah, the Power Fist. And have them do Gene Wrought Might.
Yes.
So looking to reroll everything to get the 6s.
Fishing for 6s.
Yeah. And I don't have to do that now. I don't have to give them the reroll from the Chapter Master. I can give it to the Chaplain's Aura.
Yeah.
You know, and because they're both in the command phase, I can do the Aura first.
See if it goes off.
It goes off, and then I can choose where I want the rerolls to go from the Chapter Master. If that's going to go on myself or the Terminators or something else. So it's an amazing little ability to have. Yeah. And then I've given him an additional Warlord trait.
Okay.
Yeah, which is the Hand of Dawn. The Imperial Fist, special Hand of Dawn one, and it is the D3 at the beginning of the battle. You roll a dice, and on D3, that's the amount of command points you receive back.
Okay. Oh, speaking of, before we move on to the troops and everything, how many CP do you start with?
Oh, so I start with 6.
Start with 6.
Yeah. So
quite a few on upgrades.
Yes, yeah. So the 2 CP for the Contemptors at the back.
Yeah.
The 1 CP on the Chapter Master to have 2 Warlord traits. The 2 CP, so that's 3. 2 CP on the Tech Marine to have his Warlord trait and relic. And then the additional Warlord trait for the Chaplain. But that gives me an ability to bring D3 back.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it cost me a CP to do, but the potential throughout 5 games. Throughout 5 games, you're going to get it back, definitely. Yeah. So you're going to start on 7 no matter what. And then that gives you the ability to throw a unit in reserve. Go to tactics later.
So after the HQ, let's go on to the troops.
So I'm running 3 lots of troops because it's a battalion.
Yep.
Yeah, battalion. I'm right. They're not brigade. It's a battalion. So I have to have 3 troops. I was trying to run as many as possible, but I just found I didn't have enough punch, so I dropped them to take the Terminators. Yeah. So I've got the on the right hand side is the Infiltrators. I fell in love with them lately.
That's so good.
You know, with the ability to move into the middle of the board, with the upgrade for the Helix, so it allows them to reduce the first armor save in a battle round to 0 if they fail it.
That's so useful.
Oh, so useful.
And I keep forgetting about that when we play. I fire my heavy stuff first.
Yeah.
And then you get 1 wound for it, and I ignore that 3 damage.
Yeah.
And then I do nothing with my 1 damage.
And then all your 1 damage just does a wound. So they've been really good. Then I've got the normal intercessor, so the 10-man intercessor unit. Now, everybody's probably, all the Imperial Fist sort of players might, frown upon this. I haven't gone with the Assault Bolters.
You haven't?
No.
Oh.
I've been playing Assault Bolters, and the armies that we've been playing against, and the armies that are potentially going to be up there. So, for instance, I'm just going to go with the Thousand Sons, the Astra Militara, the Grey Knights, the Orcs, the Custodes and the Tyranids out there. And even if you look at some of the other armies like Drukhari and Admech, the AP on the bolters, which are nothing, the assault bolters have no AP, they bounce.
Yeah.
They just really bounce. And they only become effective when they get the AP 1, which is only in battle round 2, or otherwise I'm spending CP.
The only way to make them really effective is the assault bolters anyway, is to makes them very CP hungry.
Yes.
When you get that exploding shots on 5 and 6s.
Yes.
And then you get them in combat, and you also make them pistols.
Yeah. So the exploding 6s are just cross the board. Don't get 5s anymore because it used to be 5. It's just 6s.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you could additionally get another exploding 6, it'd be basically become Tesla. They explode with 2. But then, like you said, they become CP hungry at 2 CP to get that.
They eat up all your CP.
You can spend 7 or 8 CP on one unit.
And surprisingly, that 10-man blob is quite effective in combat as well.
Yes, I think that's where the biggest effect comes from them. So I went with the bolt rifles, standard bolt rifles, 30-inch AP1, and then they get the AP2 in turn 2.
Yeah.
And I have seen when I transferred them to the AP2, as in turn 2, they get the AP2 with the bolt rifles. They do take down custodians really quite quickly, and anything with toughness, anything with 2+ save, they could eat through much more efficiently, taking them to the 4-ups with their AP2s. So yeah, that's where I'm lying at. You know, Terminators that are going to be the +1 to their armor saves are now going to be saving on 3s if they've got shields.
Yeah.
And that's the Dark Angels a lot of the time, where the Bolters would just give them back to 2s, and it just wasn't efficiently enough.
I think it's the right choice. Yeah. The extra AP really pays off.
Yeah, massively. Yeah. So yeah, bolt rifle, and at 30-inch range as well, so it gives me that little bit more distance.
Yeah, so we've got a unit of infiltrators, unit of intercessors. What's your other?
So the big unit at the back, it's a 5-man unit of heavy intercessors.
Yes, the heavy intercessors.
Yeah, and you might just be able to make out the sergeant has a thunder hammer.
There we go. You're going to zoom.
Yeah, I'm going to zoom in. Now, this is just a rule of call, as Valrak would say out there. So yeah, my thunder hammer on the sergeant, just to give him a little bit of rule of call out there. But he doesn't have one, unfortunately, so it don't really matter at this stage. Yeah, just zoom back. Perfect. Okay. And they're just got their heavy bolt rifles, so they're 36-inch range, rapid fire at 18. Now, I was tempted to put those assault bolters, the assault ones, or even go with the heavy ones. But again, just trying to go with the flexibility of having them just do the job anyway. We're going to tactics, what they do. They generally don't shoot anything anyway. Try not to make them shoot anything because of what their role is. So that's them.
Yeah.
That's my troops done.
That's the troops done. Should we go on to elites?
Yeah, I've got some interesting elite choices.
Yeah.
So I've got 2 veterans.
These 2 chaps back
2 chaps there, baby Marine veterans.
The beaky and the normal.
Well, yeah, because I've got loads of guys without the normal helmets. I thought, you know what, he's a veteran, give him a beaky. He's been around for a while. He looks cool. So essentially what I've done here is I saw how the bodyguard rule is being played for the last 6 months.
Annoying.
And they've been really annoying and really pain in the arse to deal with. So I've got 2 veterans, one of them with a storm shield, and then the other one's got a chainsaw. Both of them got chainsaws, one's got a bolt gun. And essentially all they're going to do is hide behind a building, fingers crossed, and let a character stand on the other side going, you can't shoot me because I've got the bodyguard.
Yep.
Yeah. Fingers crossed. That's what they're going to be doing. So that's them. I then have a 5-man Terminator squad, and this is brand new to the
Assault Terminators.
Yeah, the Assault Terminators, brand new. I would have liked to have, well, before they absolutely nerfed the hell out of the Relic Terminator armors, I was building Relic Terminator armors, the Tartarus Terminator armor, to go with the army, but they nerfed them out of existence. And to some extent, they've nerfed the Lightning Claws out of existence now. You know, the pair of Lightning Claws only generate 1 additional attack. They used to generate 1 for each Lightning Claw. So they're only getting 3 attacks now, 4 attacks on the charge, which is slightly annoying. I just have to remember that. So that
especially for my Blood Angels, because I had a whole unit with double Lightning Claws.
Yeah, I mean, Lightning Claws, I think, are just, the Terminators just don't have enough attacks. They're, the Lightning Claw Terminators, that is.
Yeah.
They don't do enough damage, and they don't have enough attacks. Yeah, so that's them.
Yeah.
3 of them have Thunder Hammers and Storm Shields. So
2 Lightning Claws.
2 Lightning Claws, and that's just for that resilience. And then my other elites are my big dreadnoughts at the back. So I've got 2 Contemptors, identical, the Volkites and the Missile Pods.
Bill and Ben back here.
Bill and Ben, Flower Pot Men. And then, I love it.
They're showing their age now.
I think that's their names from now on, Bill and Ben. And then I'm gonna draw their names on. I'm gonna paint their names on Bill and Ben. And then I've got the Redemptor at the back there. And he's got the Plasma Incinerator, the Gatling, and the Icarus Rocket Pod with the Stormbolters. So he's been upgraded to the hilt.
Yeah, the Redemptors are so good.
And I just find that he's either he survives turn 1 and he's a real menace throughout the whole game, or he dies turn 1. Yeah. But everything else survives because everything's trying to take down the Redemptor.
Well, when I'm playing against you with my orcs, I'm thinking like, what doesn't have an invuln that I can just kill, get something off the table.
Yeah,
and it's always him.
Yeah, unless they do a good job at hiding him. But then
Yeah.
he becomes very hard to be effective in the game.
Yeah,
Because he's so big. He can't get around the buildings as well as the others.
Yeah, that's very true.
So that's my elite.
So that's the end of your elites. So what about heavy support?
Heavy support, the Eradicators, 2 units of Eradicators. One heavy, so it's 150 points. One for the heavy on the left, yeah. And then the other ones are just standard rifles. And then I've got the quad heavy bolter. Absolutely love the quad heavy bolter. Like I say in most of my videos, I wish GW would allow me to use me in units of 3.
Or quad heavy bolters?
Yeah.
Where I'm in units?
Yeah, I'd even be happy if they turn around and put them at 100 points.
Oh, really?
But I could make them a unit of 3.
So your stratagems could go off on them.
Well, you could probably use 1 or 2 stratagems, and then the boltified stratagem actually is quite useful on them.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't mind doing that. But it just means that they are more effective. They don't split up. I wouldn't allow them to split up. I'd have them in a group. But you could take the other variants to the quad heavy bolter would be more precedence to take. So they got the las cannon, and then they got the mortar, and they would then become more engaging with the game. You could potentially make those work. At the moment, you can't make 1 unit work, unfortunately.
No. It's quite good though. It's quite good taking up my warbikers because they don't get the ramshackle. So they're 2 damage each, aren't they? Because they're heavy bolters.
Yes. Yeah.
I quite like. So that's your entire list.
That is my entire list. Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It looks great as well.
And that is 1,999 points.
Unfortunately,
because the Storm Shield's 4 points and not 5, so and there's no upgrade for a 1 point anywhere. So unfortunately, that is it. I wasn't able to make it 2,000.
What's the underslung grenade launcher on the intercessors?
5 points.
Is it 5 points
5
now?
points, yeah.
God, it used to be free.
Yeah, it did used to be free. Yeah, 5 points for that though.
So that's the end of your list breakdown. So why Imperial Fists?
To be honest, I can't really nail the reason why Imperial Fists. I think it was because I'm a loyalist at heart, a bit like Rich. I loved the whole Siege of Terror concept. The Easter fight when the Eisenstein turns up and evacuates some of the units to get back to tell Dawn and the Emperor that Horus's turn. They're the first real outside of the engagement.
Intercepted on the phalanx, don't they?
Yes, they get the Einstein gets intercepted by something and gets lost in the warp for a little bit, and they're delayed. And by the time they get back to Terra, Dawn's already known. And then they've got obviously Garrow's on board, and he's like gets arrested essentially and sent to Mars.
To the moon.
Yeah, or one of the moons. Yeah, Titan or something like that. And it's like, but the Imperial Fists are so stoic throughout the whole lot, and they're like really loyal to the brink of no mercy, and the fact that the behind Dawn's rise to looking after the 7th Legion, it's a bit inspiring, and the fact that he's always been like Gilliman would say, the dauntless view. He's one of the members that I would say is the reason why the Imperium stands. So and I feel that is a great sort of. It's personal to me. It's how I look at the world as well.
And you chose yellow.
And I chose yellow.
Which is one of the harder colours to paint.
And I say this to a lot of people now. If I sometimes I'm happy with the yellow that I've done. If I was to start a new army now, I would not use yellow. Maybe small highlights here and there, maybe a shoulder pad, but if I was to make a brand new army, yellow would not be on my palette.
Do Black Templars and just do a silver dry brush.
To be honest, Black Templars were always my favourite. I think 3rd edition with the Black Templars and the Eldar was my first real box set that I bought. So I painted them up as Black Templars to start off with, and my friend who took the Dark Eldar side, Drakari back always kicked my butt, and I was really upset that I always lost. So yeah, Black Templars were definitely the heart of my original.
So I guess you started with 3rd edition.
I started with 2nd edition.
Okay.
And 2nd edition back then for me was Stormtroopers, because they had the big backpack. It was an Imperial Guard Stormtroopers, which is the beret, the Tempesters now. So the original giant backpack with the cable, the beret on, the black insignia, the lightning on his shoulder, and he had the las fusel in his hand, hotshot las gun. And that was my first unit I bought, painted it on my kitchen table. And then after that, I got into some Catachans. Well, 3rd edition came out, and I bought the box of 3rd edition, played with my friend, and then I went to play Catachan because I couldn't beat him with the Black Templars from the box set. So when I bought Catachans, because they had just been released like mid 3rd edition, and I was having great big fun with that, with the Annihilator tank that you could get with the twin auto cannon on its turret, flamers everywhere going. And that was when the orcs were coming back into it as well, because towards the end of third, the Orc Codex had come out, and they'd just been released with the Black Reach box set in the 4th edition. And so yeah, I was really enjoying that. Going to my local game store at the weekend and getting all my little heavy bolters out, the old lead heavy bolter catachans, lining them up and just mowing down orcs and Gretchen. So yeah, that's the reason why I started collecting it. Imperial Fists really at that point there, because they were very heavy bolter driven.
They look cool. Just like a hail of fire, isn't it? It's why I like Dakar.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So going back to, let's be comfortable. Why Imperial Fists. So going back to the tournament that we're going to, what is this army scared? What would you say is scared to go against or worried about going against?
For every army I've played, all of them. Yeah. We are. I say we. The Imperial Fists. I've tried to play them all last year, and I did. I thought I did really well in the UK. The ITC UK sort of ones that the Warhammer guys are doing. The Warhammer tournament guys. I came 17th for the Space Marines itself.
Oh wow!
So and that's unfortunately that's no Space Wolves, not Blood Angels. It's just the generic Space Marines.
Yeah, just the Codex.
Just the Codex Space Marines, yeah, because we don't have our special drop down box to be in the Imperial Fist one. So yeah, I was quite happy with 17th overall for the UK in the UK. So, but we are at the bottom. I mean, Gene Stealer Colts were below us a month ago.
No, they're not going to be now. I just saw a video saying they've won 2 tournaments.
Yeah, I think Guard with their extra, the 2+ to their tanks are now just above us.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my idea, the scariest army I think to go up against is probably Custodians, because they are so resilient. Followed by Death Guard, because of course my army doesn't punch through Death Guard very well. But with the changes that are going on, I'm pretty confident that I can take any army on and not lose by more than 50 points.
You're a Marine. They are basically like the all-comers list, aren't they?
Yes.
They are the toolbox.
They are the toolbox, yeah.
Like, they can handle anything.
Yeah. And then they do pretty well at handling anything. I've beaten everybody's army at the club.
Yes.
There's no one I haven't beaten at the club with my army.
Yeah.
But I only usually beat them once, and then once they know all my tricks, it's very much a different contest after that.
I was surprised to see, I was going through the tournament list today, that there is another Imperial Fist player there.
There is, yeah, Chris Allen, I think his name is. He won't mind me telling him his name. But yeah, we've been talking on Facebook. It's on a public list anyway, yeah. We've been talking on Facebook about it, and he was the one for the inspiration for the Terminator change, to be honest.
Yeah.
He was mentioned that his list has got Terminators in, but he's running all Terminator Thunderhammers.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, do you know what? Yeah, I was struggling against that counterpunch, and he's probably not wrong to throw the Terminators in there. Yeah. There isn't a intercessor unit that hits back, or say a Primaris unit that hits back as hard as Terminators, apart from the aggressors. But it was a flip up between the aggressors and the Terminators, and I thought the Terminators.
If I had to choose between the two, I would probably go Terminators just because of the look.
Yeah, they look cooler.
They're so much cooler.
So yeah, that was a reason there.
Yeah. So we covered what you're scared, what's worried about.
Well, everything I'm worried about.
So what would you say you're hopeful about? What do you hope to achieve?
To be honest, I would love to go up against another. I say I love to. I think the army does very well against other Marine armies.
Yes.
In the sense that Marines have been designed, I think, overall to fight each other the best.
Yeah.
And it's very much a very even playing field. It is down to the player, not the army at that point when it comes to Marines versus Marines. And that's across all of them, Space Wolves, Blood Angels, even Dark Angels at some points. If you can get around to the back of the heavier Terminator.
I really hope we go up against Chris's team.
Yes.
And then just put you two against each other. That'd be brilliant.
But I'm hopeful to play any army. I mean, we've said right at the beginning that the whole group is hopeful to play anything, because I would say we just really enjoy playing.
Yeah.
I don't mind playing against Drukhari, or Eldar at this stage, because Eldar haven't had the new Codex out yet. I'm quite happy to take on the Admech. I've had some good success against the Admech before, and I think I can outplay a Knight's army, just purely because of the heavy weapons from the melters and the +1 to wound.
And with the terrain.
Yeah, the stratagem for +1 to wound to vehicles massively helps against those larger
tank hunters.
The tank hunters.
Yeah, that's great.
Really does, especially if I can hit and I can wound well.
Yeah, especially when you do something like the Redemptor.
Yeah, with the strength 9 weapon system, it's now wounding on 2s. It gets
Yeah.
+1 to hit from the Tech Marine. It's now hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s, wounding on 2s, rerolling 1s.
That's so good.
Yeah, with the flat 3 damage, and in turn 1 it could be flat 4.
Yeah.
It really does punch through armor really well.
And what are you what secondaries you like thinking? What have you built this army to pick secondary wise?
I've been playing really hard to get the secondaries down. The only secondary I could reliably take and rely on is Oath Moments.
Yep.
And it's a Space Marine one, unfortunately. It's not a generic one. The other generic one is Stranglehold. It doesn't always pay out for us. It's a difficult one to get.
That all depends on the map and the opponent, doesn't
Yeah,
it? Yeah,
unfortunately. And then the other one I've been trying to play is, my apologies, I can't remember what it's called now.
Deploy that? No.
Behind enemy lines, but I haven't had any success with that. I did try running 15 scouts to try and make that one work. It didn't work. Engage, I don't score that well on either. Oh, raise the banners.
That works when you remember to put a unit on the objective.
two games, take and raise, and not put an infantry unit on the objective.
In your home objective.
On the home one. It's always been a vehicle or something like that. So yeah, raise the banners, I've been quite confident and been able to score at least 10, minimum 10 on that in every game. So that's a go-to for me, raise the banner. Stranglehold, definitely, and possibly, you know, the Oath of Moments. So that's my 3 sort of go-to at the moment. Yeah, Assassinate is always up there. Bring It Down is always one to be on the mindset to keep on remembering to take. It's just keeping your eye out on the opponent. You know, there are some opponents that will want to make you take Assassinate because they got 5 and then hide 4 of them at the back for the whole game.
Yeah.
You know, and then there's the Assassinate potential for Custodians, but you can't kill them.
Yeah.
But I went against Death Card on yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and he had 3 characters, but I went for Bring It Down because he had Blight Crawlers and the Mortars. Yeah, it was like 8 points.
Yeah.
Overall for his whole army over the 12 for his Assassinates. But I knew I wasn't going to kill his characters.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
so
they're
I went
so
with the,
well protected.
Yeah, they're so well protected, and so I went for the vehicles and got more points on that.
Nice.
So it's just making the right decisions at the right table.
Yeah, just trying to maximise what you can get. What are your go-to stratagems for this army?
Go-to stratagems. So
what kind of ones would you recommend for people who are looking to start an Imperial Fist?
the Fire Twice for the Intercessors is massive, and the Exploding Sixes for Bolters.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are the 2 really for the Imperial Fists that are our go-to. You know, they do have one for the grenades to throw, so every model in the army can throw grenades, but it only potentially works for a 10-man unit to make them maximum efficiency.
Yeah.
Or even the infiltrators, but they've got to go first, they've got to be in range, and then you've got to think you're not doing any others.
Don't the infiltrators also auto-wound on a 6 to hit?
They do with their bolters. It's their bolter profile that gets it, not their other ammunition. So the pistols don't get it, and then the grenades don't get it. But it's just their special bolt rifle.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a couple there I would absolutely consider, especially if you're going up against Iron Hands. Remember, you've got the Iron Warriors. Sorry, remember you have a stratagem for the Iron Warriors to re-roll everything against them.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, because they're our arch enemies.
Yeah.
And then always keep in mind that you can use shooting to combat.
Yes.
Yeah, turn all your bolt weapons into pistols, and then you can shoot yourself out of combat. But again, that only works in large units, and then we are sort of like kicked in the butt for all those good ones are 2 CP.
Yes.
So Exploding Sixes are
your
2.
stratagem's quite expensive.
Yeah, Tank Hunters, massive, but it's 2. All the good ones that we would like to use are 2 CP. So GW, please change our CP counts down to 1. But yeah, and then it's the Space Marine one. So Gene Wrought Might is massive, Transhuman is huge. The Guerrilla Tactics for the Infiltrators be able to be picked up off the board and deployed somewhere else. And then put 1 unit in all doctrines. I've been using that quite recently, quite a lot, because actually in turn 1, if a unit is super fast and you have the opportunity to countercharge the 10 intercessors who move out, who shoot something to death and then charge another unit and kill something in combat as well, and now they're in the middle of the board going, you just made the big mistake by getting into my charge range.
An objective there, you can do that stratagem to give you +1 to your save because you're on an objective.
Yeah, I have one as well for the Imperial Fist one. It defends So it's steady, not tear, blah, blah, blah. Adaptive strategy is the one puts me in all doctrines, and then I'm looking for clearance patrol is the grenades, but it's shield and wavering. Again, it's 2 CP though, but it does give you an extra attack in combat.
Oh, does it as well?
Yeah, it gives you 1 extra attack and 1 extra armor save. But you've got to be within 3 inches. It's not the whole unit, so it's not every model in the unit. Just has to be one model within 3 inches of an objective. And the other one to think about is Pain is a Lesson. Pain is a Lesson is massive.
That's great.
That's our 6-up Feel No Pain, which is why there's no apothecary. Because hopefully there's only 1 unit being targeted at a time. And you can get that.
And that pairs well with transhuman really well.
Yeah, it does. One I like to use, but it depends if it works or not, is bolster defenses. Now this is at the beginning of the start of the movement phase. If a unit is in a piece of terrain feature and you want them to survive a little bit longer throughout the game, 1 CP, you can only use this once per game, but you can give them an extra arm save as long as they don't move.
Wow, you add 2 to the unit saving for being in cover instead of 1.
For being in cover, yeah, instead of 1.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah, so the whole tactic of the heavy intercessors are to sit in terrain to get a 2-up save. Then you spend 1 CP, or while they're on an objective, they now have a 0-up save, a 1-up save, sorry, in the terrain feature, and they don't move.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you can do it with the Terminators, because it doesn't have to be, it's just an infantry unit. So the Terminators that are on a 2-up save, a 1-up for the shield, a 0-up for being in terrain, and now a -1. But they can't move. That's the issue though. Yeah. They're stuck then, because as soon as you move, and this is where the wording is really annoying. It's if they move. So if you just move them around in the terrain feature, that's it.
Yeah, that's a normal move. Yeah.
It's just a normal move. So
as soon
it's
as you
really
move one
annoying.
Model, the whole unit's considered moved.
Yeah, so it can be a little bit frustrating. But the unit has to be wholly within the train feature.
Yep.
So you can't have one guy lingering out and the rest in. They have to all be in. But yeah, it makes a fantastic sort of counter. Last stand, yeah. So yeah, there's a couple of really good ones to use there. But it is a command phase stratagem. So that's, again, it's a little bit...
so you can't even move then.
Oh, so it's using the start of your movement phase.
Oh, basically command phase.
Yeah, it's your command phase. But yeah, essentially you can't move and then use it. You've already be there. But yeah, it's a great little stratagem to remember. It's only 1 CP. That's our best stratagem for 1 CP. And pain is a lesson in that one.
Yeah. I was going to ask about any tactics, but I guess we've kind of covered that a bit.
The overall tactics is to have one of my heavy eradicators in reserve.
Yeah.
Now the reason why it's the heavy ones is and not the assault ones is because the heavies, when they come in from reserve, will be in range, hopefully, of a unit within 12.
Yes.
Which means they're going to get their D6 plus 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The heavy ones, aren't they?
They're the heavy ones. Now they get the -1 to hit, so that's a little bit of an issue. But if you're going after the Terminators from the Dark Angels, or say a vehicle, a Gladiator vehicle, for instance, or one of the Toughness 7 vehicles that are out there, they really do just annihilate a vehicle. Even 6 shots at -1 will take down.
Can you give them Tank Hunter as well?
Yep.
Oh
yep.
Man, that's so good.
So they're strength 8, and they come in on a Toughness 7 vehicle. They hit on 4s and then they wound on 2s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just amazing.
Or even going against a Rust, like you can win on 3s instead of 4s.
Yeah, and they rip straight through him at AP 4, so most people won't get an armor save against it.
Yeah.
So that's them, and then the heavy intercessors and the Terminators are still up in the air of which one's best to sit on the back objective, just purely because of the buffs that the Terminators give.
Yeah.
And then the same with the heavy intercessors.
So do you generally, with the infiltrators, do you generally forward deploy them? There's a one mission where you can't.
Yeah, there's one mission I can't, but there are 2 options depending on the army I'm going up against. Yeah. If it's an army with lots of deep strikes, so we go back to using the Astra Militarum's Charlie's list. The Tempestus. He's got like 10 Tempestus units at deep strike. I'll try and hold them back in my back deployment zone, just to screen out my whole deployment zone.
Yeah, because for those that don't know, if you don't know and you're watching this, they have instead of a 9-inch bubble of you can't deploy within them, they have a 12-inch bubble.
That's right, yeah. So they just,
which is great.
They screen so well in your own deployment zone, especially if those units that are trying to get behind enemy lines, or it means you only have to have 2 units. 2 units and you can screen the whole of your back line out.
Yeah.
You know, now I've only got the 1 unit, but it does mean that they can do one side of the board and then another unit can do the other side.
Yeah.
And that will hopefully screen out your whole back end.
The big blow of 10-man intercessors could screen out quite a lot.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, that's the idea for them. And then if I'm not going up against a heavy unit, a heavy army with deep strikes, they'll set up in the middle to get that open moments. Fingers crossed to go second, and then they just sit there. They're really good at that.
Yeah. What's your general game plan with the Terminators?
The general game plan at the moment, I've used them 3 times now.
Yeah.
So the idea is to have them sat.
They're jumping from terrain to terrain?
Yes. So the first turn, it depends on the army mission, obviously.
Yeah.
But majority of the time, what I want them to do is either sit on that back objective turn 1, let the intercessors move forward, and have them follow up the intercessors.
Okay.
Because the intercessors will get charged. They'll get shot at because they're intercessors and people want to kill them.
Yeah.
Because no one's using Terminators at the moment for an Imperial Fist unit apart from Chris out there. But then they do the counter because they're not easy to kill. You have to focus fire the Terminators down with the storm shields,
that's so
and especially if you put them in terrain as well. And you've got to hit them with something hard. Where the intercessor is like, well, I'll just put them a pot shots there.
Yeah.
I'll put all the small arms fire, and then that one shot, and they just survive a lot longer.
Yeah.
So the idea is for them is to be that counter punch following up from the intercessors.
Just quick thought. Can you paint as a lesson the Terminator?
Yes.
It's not a Primaris
Nope.
exclusive. Okay,
It's an Imperial Fist one.
That's
so yeah,
great.
it's huge because it means that flat 3 damage weapon system's out there.
Is it just infantry paint as a lesson?
Infantry paint as a
just
lesson.
checking because that'd be nasty doing that on Dreadnoughts.
Yes, it would. Yeah, but the quad heavy bolter and the vehicles do give me the option for engage because it is a vehicle.
Yeah.
So depending on the map, I
the
could.
quad heavy bolter counts as a vehicle.
Yes, it counts as a vehicle. It's toughness 5, 5 wounds.
So you can leave that in your back quarter.
I could,
So it
and
moves like 3 inches, doesn't it?
it moves 4.
Oh wow.
So what I've been trying to do is I'm trying to be measuring out 12 inches from the next objective from wherever it gets set up. That means that in 3 turns it could reach it.
Because it can't advance.
Can't advance.
Yeah.
It can't advance. It can't charge.
Yeah.
So and it can't fall back.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's a vehicle, so it doesn't want to fall back. It wants to shoot.
in combat. Yeah.
But yeah, the idea is that it sits 12 inches away from an objective marker in no man's land on one of the flanks, and it just trundles up there, until it gets there, turn 3, just keep shooting. Yeah,
Nice.
It's a nice little. I mean, it took down a Redemptor. It only had 1 wound, but it charged it and it overwatched and killed a Redemptor in Overwatch. It's a bolter weapon, so it explodes on 6s.
Yeah.
It's 12 shots. It's 2 damage. It's like I said, the Marines kill Marines really nicely.
They really do. Yeah.
So that's the sort of concept of the army
And then
itself.
you've got the 2 contemptors are sort of like a mobile fire base.
The contemptors are really there for the firebase. Yeah, it's the anti-horde, anti-armor because of the mortal wounds. The anti-heavy infantry. They really do work. I'm looking forward to seeing how the plasma goes on them.
Yes, got those coming in.
I've ordered some plasma, heavy plasma guns. Plasma cannons. So they're going to be rocking plasma cannons hopefully next month. And that's due to the fact the cost of them going up. 195 points. The platform's just too expensive now, unfortunately.
They're still really good though.
They're really good turn 1.
Yeah.
They're not so good turn 2 onwards.
If you get lucky with the 6s to wound, they are devastating.
Yeah, over 5 games, I expect them to maybe do really well 2 or 3 turns.
Yeah.
Out of the whole 5 games, what's that? 15 turns? No, it's not that. 25 turns.
25 turns, yeah.
25 turns, and I hope that 3 of them they just go.
Remember, you can't ask me to do maths in my
Sorry. But they are just not reliable. I don't get generally when I'm playing the games at the tournaments. You don't get them in first turn to actually do anything because you can't see anything and hide. So turn 2 is where they come in effect, but they can be put into all doctrines.
Yes.
So it's a nice little thing to have.
Keyword, isn't it? Yeah.
It's a core keyword that you need for it, and it's nice to be able to go. Okay, I'm just going to give the AP to the Volkites, and they go to Ham. And they work then.
And you have the Tech Marine with them to give them +1,
and he's re-rolling once to
and
wound.
they can make some OPSEC and everything.
Yeah. So and then the Redemptor is my throw forward. Here, deal with this big thing. In turn 1, if he's got nothing else to do, he'll advance.
He's your distraction.
He's my distraction kind of. Absolutely, yeah. That's exactly what he does. He's the old distraction kind of.
You have to kill him.
Yes, yeah.
Because if you don't kill him, that melee weapon, the plasma cannon alone, then all the bolter shots, and then the Icarus pod, which is 2 damage as well.
Yeah.
And then if he gets into melee, it's D3 plus 3 damage.
Absolutely, yeah. He's a beat stick on his own. And like you said, you have to deal with him. So
Sorry, I just remembered a game we had where you got him into melee and he did 1 wound.
He did do,
because he just rolled so badly. But yeah, most of the time, he's absolutely horrible.
I love him, and I've been really enjoying him. And unfortunately, again, the points have gone up on him. So I'm thinking it all depends on how the meta turns out with armour. Mm-hmm. If the armour comes back, then the plasma sticks around. If the armour dies, then it'll be the Gatling.
Just as a speculation thing, because I know we're waffling on quite a long time.
Yeah.
How would you do a all infantry Imperial Fist army? So get rid of all the dreadnoughts.
Yeah.
And just get more Terminators. Maybe add some Hell Blasters.
It would be I'd probably run 2 apothecaries at that stage.
Or 2.
Yeah.
So you can spread them out.
Spread them out.
Two blobs.
And then I would probably try and run as many of the Gravis armoured units as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might still keep the 10-man or maybe 20-man intercessor unit. Definitely assault intercessors would come back, but it would probably be just trying to get as many of the heavy Gravis armours in.
All the heavy weapons and stuff, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the heavy intercessors alone, 140 points, and there's 600 points worth of dreadnoughts. So when you think about it like that, you're only getting 4 additional Grav units.
A 10-man heavy Hellblaster unit or something like
that? Yeah, 10-man heavy Hellblasters unit would come in. The quad heavy bolt would disappear, obviously. Then I'd run a 10-man intercessor unit, a 10-man heavy intercessor unit, a 10-man standard intercessor unit, assault intercessor unit, and then just run with 2 apothecaries, because I'd drop the tech marine at that stage.
Would you not try and get some more like heavy weapons in to replace the Volkite and the heavy plasma cannon?
I've got the Eradicators, and the heavy Hellblasters would cover that. Yeah, and if you're running 10-man unit, the 5-man unit is replacement of the Redemptor in its shooting. Yeah, because they're still strength 9, flat 3 damage. Yeah. So you guarantee 5 shots over the D6 with the Dreadnought, and then you run that, and that covers then the Redemptor's firepower, and then the number of shots from the Volkite is covered up by using the heavy intercessors and the normal intercessors. Just the volume of shots you pump out with those.
So many shots.
Yeah, I mean the Contemptors pump out 16. The intercessors pump out 20 if they don't move.
Yes.
So the rate of fire is still exactly the same for the points cost. You know, I think
slightly less damage maybe.
Yeah, well, it's 200 points for the intercessors, 195 for the Redemptor.
More wounds though.
More wounds, yeah. You have more stratagems you can use in them.
Yeah.
You can hide them behind buildings easier.
Through buildings,
they get the benefit of the buildings, the ruins, and they can move through it. So that's them. Yeah, that's what I would do.
Okay.
More
just a random idea I had. And finally, what are you hoping to achieve at the tournament? Like wins wise?
Yes. Or... Yeah. I would love 5. I'm going to put it out there. I want to go 5 and 5.
I haven't finished watching the one you did with Rick, but so far we've been 3. I was like 1.
Yeah.
And Charlie has got 3. What did Rick say?
He wanted 3.
Yeah, 3.
He would be happy.
You're like 5.
He said he'd be happy with 3, and then when we questioned him, he said, "No, I'll be happy with 2 actually. Yeah. I'll be just super happy if I go there and get 2."
Yeah, I was there for that one.
Yeah, but yeah, and Rob said he would be happy with 2 to 3.
Wow. Yeah. I'm the low baller.
Yeah, you're the low baller, but over 5 games, 3 is an average. That's what you're looking at. You're looking at that flip, but I would absolutely love to go 5 and 5.
You've done it before, haven't you?
I've done it once, at a doubles tournament, 5 and 5.
That was a good tournament.
Yeah, and I've done it. I've done 4 and 1 a lot, and 3 and 2. So I did 3 and 2 at the London LVO. So I'd be happy to go. I would love to go 5, but I'd be happy with 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So I don't want 2, I don't want 1, because I'll cry all the way home and I'll moan. Being team captain and all that.
Yeah. Well, you're not driving, so you just sit in the booth.
That's it, yeah. The only reason I say I want to do well is because I want to prove that the Imperial Fists are a worthy adversary for the tabletop. And if I was to go up 5, I'd have bragging rights.
How many people at the tournament?
There is currently 295 players.
Yeah.
That works out at 59 teams.
So there is 2 Imperial Fist players to prove that the Imperial Fists are not bottom tier.
That's it, yeah. So bragging rights, that's all we're going for, bragging rights.
Who can do the best?
Who can do the best, yeah.
Well, good luck. We should bring the video to the end there, I suppose. So thank you everyone for watching. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. And you can do your sign off.
No, much appreciated for tuning in, guys, if you stuck around for this long. So thanks very much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.